Now we got another controversial fight, another controversial call as Paddy Pimblett defeated, kind of defeated Gordon via unanimous decision. And now I know there are many Paddy fanboys who are going to troll me and say that Paddy win that fight. But first, you need to learn the rules, and it's time to learn the rules. Damage matters the most. That's true. But where have you seen a rule? I mean, read UFC rules, and where have you seen a rule that says that damage is going to affect way heavier than octagon control, than wrestling? I mean, damage matters the most, but let's read the stats. Significant strikes: Paddy Pimblett 63, 58 Jared Gordon. Total strikes: 100 Jared Gordon, 97 Paddy Pimblett. Takedowns: 0 takedowns Paddy Pimblett, 3 takedowns Jared Gordon. Control time: 0.35 for Paddy Pimblett, 6.28 for Jared Gordon. So, following his controversial win against Gordon, Pimblett remains undefeated in the UFC. With an unfair perfect score of 4-0, questions are being asked about his latest result. Even Joe Rogan was a bit suspect, and prior to the fight, Pimblett has had 3 fights in the UFC, all being finished within 2 rounds. Victory against Gordon went the distance, with the judges scoring 29-28 on the scorecards. Many fans are in disbelief, including me. Las Vegas crowd letting their feelings be heard when the decision was announced. They were booing. And presenting the stats, both Pimblett and Gordon were virtually equal with how many punches they threw during the fight, with both fighters throwing around 100 punches each. But it was Pimblett that landed more significant strikes, with the Liverpool-born fighter managing to connect 63 significant strikes compared to Gordon's 58. Fine. But it was Jared Gordon who came out on top, wrestling, controlling the fight for over 6 minutes, while Paddy only had control of the fight for a lousy 35 seconds. Lousy 35 seconds. So what are we going to talk about that rule? Gordon's wrestling skills were also presented when he managed to successfully take down Pimblett on 3 separate occasions. Meanwhile, 0 takedowns for Paddy Pimblett. Pimblett had won 2 of his last 3 fights via submission, showing off his wrestling skills and managing to control the fight on the ground. With wins over Rodrigo Vargas and Jordan Levitt, both from rear naked chokes, but was a different story this time around. With the fight against Jared Gordon being Pimblett's first time pay-per-view fight, there is no doubt that Paddy's next fight will be against bigger and tougher opponent. It's just a question if Dana White will give Pimblett a ranked fighter after nearly losing his last fight, and Dana White also showed his disbelief, and he nearly said that Paddy Pimblett didn't win that fight, but fans may have to wait for Paddy Pimblett to return, as he said he has suffered a foot injury, and Pimblett also said, "I'm not going to lie, I hurt my right foot in the first round. One of the first kicks I threw, my right foot is in a bit of pain. I'm going to have to get that x-rayed." Alright, man. But you are trying to fake us. You are trying to trick us. I mean, let's be honest. How is it possible in Earth that Jared Gordon didn't win rounds 1 and 3? In round 3, he was on the top of Paddy Pimblett mostly. In round 2, he was throwing some of heavy bombs. I don't know, man. I mean, even if you're the worst judge in the world, I was watching that fight. I was seeing control. 2 rounds had to go to Jared Gordon. 2 rounds literally had to go to Jared Gordon. If we are going to follow the MMA rules, if we are going to watch everything, I rewatched that fight on 3 occasions. And round 1, I simply, even if you give round 1 to Paddy Pimblett, how in it can you give rounds 2 and 3 to his opponent? It's impossible. It's literally impossible. With Jared Gordon holding him on the ground, controlling him. Have you read MMA rules? Okay, damage matters the most. That's fine. But where have you seen that the rule says that if you control your opponent, if you pin him to the canvas, if you drag him to the ground, and if you control the fight, how is it possible that you're going to lose that round when you were having a total control? Also, he was in the dominant positions. He landed 3 takedowns. Fine. Round 3, there is no way Gordon lost round 3. There is no way Gordon lost round 3. Like round 2, when I rewatched, I would also give it to Gordon. Even round 1 was questionable, but one could give it to Pimblett. But man, many fans are in disbelief, including me. Paddy Pimblett didn't win this fight. I rewatched it 3 times. Every single time I was counting control time. Every single time I was taking a look at the damage. There is no way that you can control somebody for 6 minutes on the ground, There is no way you can punch somebody on the ground, you can take him down on 3 occasions, and nobody cares again about the takedown anymore. It's like there are boxing judges. Like, I'm not gonna say the fight was rigged, but there is a huge possibility that it was rigged because Paddy Pimblett is an uprising star and Jared Gordon doesn't have the star status. There is a possibility that the fight was rigged, and there is a possibility that they intentionally gave it to Pimblett because they believe Pimblett is the greater hype train. He is going to bring more to the UFC, and that's something that pretty much irritates me a lot. That irritates me a lot because it sucks. It's really like they are also robbing fans. They're going to say they don't rob the fans, etc. But they robbed us. They robbed our hearts. I mean, how can you say that Gordon lost that fight? He didn't lose that fight. Rewatch that fight, guys, and you will see whether I'm right or not. There's no way Gordon lost 2 rounds. If it was a split decision, fine, but like unanimous decision 29-28, no way. Failed call. Paddy, you didn't win that fight.